Consul John and Ilsa, American Consul, my wife, and everyone else, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak this evening. It's very kind of you to receive me and my wife, Teresa, from the provinces. We don't get up much to the big town from Brasilia, but it's a big town. Very excited to be here. And to be with the lads and the lasses. Now, 2014, ladies and gentlemen, is a turbulent year. 2014. Brazilian election, and of course also the referendum on Scottish independence in Scotland. So this evening I shall be making absolutely no political gestures whatsoever. Absolutely clear on that. No politics this evening. Thank you very much indeed. It is an honour to do this. It's the first time I've ever done it, and it's an honour because I am of mixed parentage. My mother is a Scot. She has cheekbones as sharp as Ben McDewey's top. She has eyes that glisten like a salmon running upstream. She has hair that blows in the wind like the corn on the Black Isle. And my father is from Harrow. Now, I understood, it's the first time I've ever done this, I understand that I am supposed to tell a Scottish joke. To be honest, I only know one Scottish joke, and she is speaking after me, so... I'm going to pay for that several times. Anyway, so if that was the best joke I had, you can realise the degree of desperation I feel as I get up here. And you can tell how desperate I was because I asked my wife for advice. And she said, well, I've got a very good text for you to read. She's Portuguese, Teresa. It's an old Portuguese saying. I quote, "To be happy in life," this is addressed to the lads, "to be happy in life, pick one woman, pick it, funny that, it well, and surrender." Now, I didn't really care for that text, if I may say so. Thank you very much, Teresa. It's a very kind suggestion. So I looked elsewhere, and I think I had reached true levels of desperation because I went on Twitter to find a good text. Twitter's Alex W. Ellis, just in case you're interested in following. Welcome. And I found on Twitter the answer. And I have to say, and this is the only time in my life I shall ever say thank you, Cecil Parkinson, which many of you know who he is, but anyway, he did actually provide, somebody did, well done, Johnny. That's, you're showing your age there, but we'll talk about that later, because Cecil Parkinson has a rather good, and can I say, I think the only non-obscene Burns Night story. So let's try out with Cecil Parkinson. So in recent times, as Cecil tells it, the entry criteria into heaven have been relaxed. As a result, England and Scottish football supporters are now eligible to go to heaven. Sadly, however, before they get to the pearly gates, they begin to fight, and they fight very obviously about which is the greatest football team in the world. Is it England or Scotland? Yeah, strange fight, but never mind. And God hears the fight, and God is displeased. So, he calls forward the England-Scotland fans. He says, "I am fed up of this racket. I do not want to hear any more of it. What are you fighting about?" I know what you're fighting. You're fighting about which is the greatest football team. God, of course, is Brazilian, so it's a bit of an in-joke, of course. But a little twist, which I think Cecil Parkinson didn't pick up in the original story. Anyway, he says, now we're going to have a fair competition to decide who is the greatest football team. Is it England or Scotland? You're right over there. You can just about hear me over there. It's snuck in over there, I think. Anyway, so, England versus Scotland. And he says the way we're going to decide this is I'm going to give you one poet each, one poet, and 20 minutes. And your poet must create a beautiful, beautiful rhyming verse which ends with the word Timbuktu. The English huddle in the corner immediately, and they call on William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth, will you step up? William Wordsworth appears magically from heaven, comes down, and within 5 minutes, William Wordsworth has written the following. What a great poet he is. "I went unto a foreign land. I came upon a silver strand. A sailing ship hove into view. Her destination, Timbuktu." Come on, a little quicker, please. Come on. That table over there, faster, please, into my lines. Anyway, the Scots, they're worried. That is good. 5 minutes, William Wordsworth and that poem. Pretty impressive. However, who do they call on? We know who they call on. It's Robert Burns. Rabbie Burns appears, perhaps not from the top of heaven, but anyway, comes through a side gate. Anyway, the minutes tick by, and I get towards the end, but Rabbie, rather like, I like to think, Michel Platini in 1984 European Cup semi-final, injured, comes late but saves the day. And Rabbie produces this in return. Tim and I a walking went. We spied 3 virgins in a tent. Since they were 3 and we were 2, I bucked 1 and Tim bucked 2. So yet again we say it, thank you, Cecil Parkinson. Try saying it in the mirror, keep us straight face. So, our theme this evening obviously is the Lassies, we must remember that, and I think that Burns really gives us our text, lads, and from now on it really is for the lads, because Burns writes beautifully, there's naught but care in every hand, in every hour that passes, or what signifies the life of a man, in Twem for the Lassies. True words. Although, can I make a confession about Robbie Burns? I don't really understand a word of it. In this sense, he reminds me very much of Bob Dylan. You know, you don't actually understand a single word he's saying, but you kind of get the meaning beneath it. And lads, I think if we reflect on language and the use of language, and I'm looking, so I think this table over here, who I think needs maybe some, I don't know if you're looking for life lessons, but you're going to get them tonight. You're lucky, you didn't know you were going to get that as well as the whiskey, did you? Anyway, I think there are some expressions which, let's face it, lads, we do use. Where the language is perfectly clear, but the meaning, in my view, is entirely fallacious. Let me give you a few examples. The things you say to your lass, which simply aren't true. Well, number 1 on the list, I think, would have to be, I'm listening. Never said that, have you? Never. I'm listening. I'm listening. Meanwhile. Another one, I think, which again I must advise, use it well, but it is a lie. I'd love to go shopping. You would, wouldn't you? I'm keen on that. Shopper over there, it's good to know. Another one, which I'm afraid I have to confess has been an issue sometimes in my very, very happy marriage. I agree, we should stop and ask for directions. One which, for those of you lads who are new to Brazil, may I recommend you listen carefully to this one. It will come in useful several times. I didn't notice her, and in any case, I wasn't looking. And finally, don't forget to say at the end, I'm still listening. However, we can laugh, and I think a lot of lasses were laughing at their lads there. But can I point out, lasses, that you are capable of doing things to a man, basically forcing a man to say things which, no matter what they think, they simply must say. Again, tables with some of the younger ones, remember, lads, the correct answers to these questions. You have, and I vaguely remember from when I learned a tiny bit of Latin when I was at school, I think there's a question which expects the answer yes, a non-any question, I think it's called. And lads, if you ever get this question, remember what the right answer is. Do I look good in this? Of course, there are questions, num questions, which require the answer no. Am I turning into my mother? Please don't confuse the answers to those 2 questions. Trouble can come from that. So let's face it, in the end, lads, we have to accept and acknowledge the power of the lasses. And we have indeed, I'm afraid, or happily, to surrender to it. I must surrender to it. What choice do I have? I am Her Majesty's ambassador. So let me finish with a lovely Burns song, which I think Matt's here, he's actually said it last year. I absolutely love this line from Burns, and it is a good reminder to all of us, all the lads here this evening, as in a second we get up and toast the lassies. Old nature swears the lovely dears her noblest work she classes. Oh, apprentice hand she tried on man, and then she made the lasses. That's to the lasses.